Welcome to another edition of the Independent Creator Podcast. Tonight, we're actually going to be taking a little break from live streaming topics that we usually been talking about over the past couple episodes, and actually going to go through and look at some of the open source and also free community building software for your forums if you're really interested in that. Now, let's actually get into the meat and potatoes, as it were. Let's see if I got everything is working. So one of the things that a lot of people are forgetting pretty much is that forums are this great place that, you can gather information. It's easily searchable, and, it's not really lost to the annuals of time, unlike places like gravity wells or black holes like Discord. Now, a lot of people are gravitating to Discord because, oh, it's free, it's easy, and pretty much everyone else is using it, right? Well, that is a positive, but the thing is that there are a lot of things that are wrong or not really user friendly, as it were. Any information that is in Discord is completely siphoned off, blocked behind a gate from the rest of the world. And even if you do find your way into that particular server, good luck trying to find it through search, because search on Discord is really not that great. Now, reason I say that is because Discord is not open into, the, open world, as it were, with the internet and everything else like that. It's kind of, like I said, it's a black hole. And unfortunately, a lot of companies, game publishers and developers are starting to abandon their forums in order to go to Discord because, some bean counters on the payroll say, oh, we're spending a couple $1,000s a month on hosting our forum when we can use Discord. It's completely free, guys. Yay. But they're losing the sight that all the information, all that knowledge is being lost. It's just going to disappear from the internet. Like old guides or walkthroughs of stuff, power builds, character sheets, whatever you name it, is going to be essentially lost to the internet. And let's just join the Discord. Okay, well, fine. If you can find a Discord, have you tried looking up, like RuneScape is a good example. RuneScape recently is starting their transition from their forums that they've been running for decades, going into a Discord format. And that's the thing, is that all of that information is going to be gone. Oh, they said, you'll have until, I think it was February or March, that you can save your old posts and threads. Great. That's nice. What would be even nicer is to keep the information there on the internet, right? So the thing is that a lot of people are easily saying or being swayed by, oh, it's just Discord, it's easier, it's everyone's doing it. Now, the reason why I bring this up, because I've been a advocate for myself. I've been shouting from the rooftops to an empty choir or empty audience, because it's just something that everyone is like, oh, forums are a dead technology, no one uses those, ew, forums, that's like old boomer stuff. Well, a lot of the cases, forums are still around and are being actively used. One of those is Simple Machine Forums. I'm going to go over a couple different free open source kind of softwares, suites that you can use. And I'll also talk about the paid options as well. But most of the time, I'm going to be talking about the free open source stuff. Like Simple Machine Forum, it's been around for decades, and they're still, believe it or not, still being actively worked on. There is still some development cycles being used up. There's some people that still use it. And, I've used it myself in the past. It is a free forum software that, it's good. I mean, think of it as like a vanity project. You have to get that past that mindset. It has to be pretty. Now, like Fox is saying in our chat, in our live recording, says what each one is written in, what DB engines are supported. Most of the ones like SMF, MyBB, and phpBB are written in phpBB and require MySQL or MySQL. I don't think that you can use Mariah in this, but let's take a look at SMF right now. So if I go in right now, we're looking at, if you're watching live or on the episode later, we're going through what is actually SMF. This is what their forum software looks like. And they have released a version 2.1.4, and this was summer of last year. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot more that they could be doing, but the developers of these are like volunteers. They're not here to not make any money. There is no monetary gain on this. It's all voluntary, or a small group of people keeping these software alive. So Mariah replaced MySQL. So yeah, but the question is always what Postgres is supported. Well, let's see if we can find that out. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, internet. Bringing to light internet. Was it IBF Internet Brands forums? Internet Brands is actually a company, not a very good company, because they bought vBulletin years ago, and they bought also small or decently sized forums and just completely like filled them with ads and just destroyed the entire community. So let's see. Not looking at finding anything, but you're pretty much going to see that SMF and all these are going to be on a typical LAMP stack. So take that for what it's worth. Now, this having to redo this entire episode again is just completely derailed my train of thought for tonight. So this episode is not going to be as good, but we'll just power along through it. But SMF has been around for decades, pretty much since early 2000s, so like 2001. And there are plenty of themes and plugins that you can use on this. You can go to themes, and we'll take a look at a couple here. There are some nice looking ones. Of course, these aren't going to win best in show, but you know what? It's doable for what you get. As actually, some of these do look quite nice. There is a few of them that are gaming related because, some people don't have the budget to spend hundreds of dollars on ZenForo or Envision Community to get a forum started. Sometimes the best course of action is start for free. Well, vBulletin was pulled some inspiration from other stuff, but it's how that went about with the whole vBulletin thing. We'll get into that later. It was a complete cluster in of itself. So now you can also have some modifications or plugins that are available to this. So you have stop forum spam, which is a great thing to have because a lot of times these free boards get inundated with spam postings unless your admin and mod staff are really good or on the ball. I've seen so many, even paid software, that has just turned into, piles of crap filled with ad spam. And it's just like, why? What happened? He says, might as well just nuke it from Orbit just to be sure, just get rid of it all. But a lot of active development is still going on for SMF, Simple Machine Forums. And, for what it is, it's perfectly reliable, and you can host it on your server. It's small, it's free, it's open source. So, there is that. Let's take a look at another one, which is MyBB. Now, MyBB is also another free open source software that, of course, as their tagline says, MyBB is the free and open source forum software powering thousands of engaging, vibrant, and unique communities across the internet. Okay, sure. Oh yeah, you're saying that with locked the new registration feature completely because they couldn't stop getting spam bots. Yeah, and that's unfortunate because a lot of these open source also are older, so there are still a lot of, these bad people out there that have built these bot programs to just spam, inundate these boards. For I have no real reason why they would do that, because if they do that, the stuff that they're posting out there is not getting seen. So I would I wouldn't suggest it, but I would think in my mind, if you want to maximize your return on investment for the work hours, to actually go for the larger boards and just do it that way. But they know these are easy soft targets to hit. Why MyBB? Well, you can have a rad community. Well, all the forums are pretty much going to have the same thing. It's like you have a friendly community will help you get your community started. There's extensions. You got it's simple to use, multilingual. So let's take a feature tour, which was right here. So you got plugins, you have moderation, which, pretty much every forum software that has been designed, built since, I guess, the dawn of internet time has these things. So it's just another option for anyone who, like I said, doesn't have the budget for the larger, more expensive forum software. So you got, your discussions, themes, admin, users. I guess that's a feature. Use features to keep your users engaged and active. Well, yeah, they all pretty much look the same. I would have to say that Invision Community is actively trying to move away from what a stereotypical forum would look like. I'll show that in just a moment. But this is every forum. If you think of forum, you think of it's a category block with subjects within each one or subcategories in it. Yeah, it's just kind of like they all kind of look the same. So I think that's the reason why a lot of people are not really so gung-ho about it anymore, because of places like, again, Discord, Facebook, Reddit, and other places. So it's kind of like just trying to keep alive an old technology that is actually serves a great purpose and is really, to this day, still viable for community building. And like you said, is with the least, pick one with at the least stupid security vulnerabilities in the last 5 years. Yeah, and one of these, actually, all three that are the smaller open source ones are easily poked at, I would say, because the development time is not as intense as the other ones. There is, again, these are small teams, probably less than 30 people, if that, maybe 10 at the most. And they do this on the side. It's just because they love the software. And that's what they've grown up building and getting set in their ways. Now, is there a possibility that, yeah, you can change out a couple things? Sure. I mean, there is that aspect, but it requires a complete rewrite. And my thinking is that the man hours in order to do that, make changes on that scale, is kind of an impossible feat at the developer levels. The numbers that they have. So this is something that you really have to think of. Like this right now, we're looking at MyBB. It looks eerily similar to SMF, but the design format is different when you look at it from each other. SMF had more of a structure. Everything is in like containers, like categories, and all the stuff are in small little containers. Well, the same thing can be said with MyBB, but it has a different aesthetic to it. Like you can, if you're in the forum world and you can go to different forums that are set up, you can almost instinctively say, "Oh, this was built with MyBB," or "Oh yeah, this was with Discourse. Oh, this is an Envision Community." So it's kind of like the tall tale signs of what each software incorporates. So it's kind of nice to see that where you can instantly have that recognition. It's kind of like saying you go into Mickey D's and in your wherever your hometown, and you go across the country, you can go walk into another McDonald's, and it's pretty much going to be the same thing. It'll look the same, have the same food, same atmosphere, and same all around. So it's kind of like that it's trademark, so to speak. It's immersion, as it were. So think of it like that, as like you're looking at the fast food industry forums, where you can change a couple different things. You can change the theme, but underlying of what it is, it's still going to have that flavor. That flavor, depending on your how you look at it, could be good, okay, or distasteful. So, so MyBB is like another one. It's been on a slow development cycle. Like they have just released just a couple months ago, back in November, a security and maintenance release. And they also have a designing MyBB 1.9's installer. So a lot of these you can install on shared hosting plans because they're small, they're tiny, there's nothing really to it. And really, for most of the people who are starting up with forums, are ones that are just starting out. They don't have a large community to, stressed off server hardware in a way that be kicked off shared hosting. They say, hey, you need to get on a VPS or at least a dedicated. So they got a couple years, they got a long time frame before they move different software hardware. So it looks like they have changing different things. Let's see, we got user interface is a much better looking web UI for the install process. PHP, of course, everything. You have to have a Mariah DB and get that set up in your shared hosting plan if you go that route. So again, a lot of this has been long running that they've been needing to do this. And it looks like they have put everything on GitHub too. So when I used MyBB a long time ago, we're talking decades. Yeah, it's Postgres as well. Most of these are going to have the same thing. When I first started in my forum ventures many years ago, I started out with phpBB. I jumped over to MyBB, and I also tried out SMF. I pretty much tried them all. I have to say, out of just those three, MyBB was probably the easiest to work with at that time. And there was a growing community of plugin developers, theme makers. So it was kind of like, the early days of forums. And it was great to see. But just to see that I moved on to other platforms, but to see how that they're actually still working on this is really, really good. In my mind, it's actually a great thing to see that there are people out there trying to keep these things alive, which is, in my opinion, a good thing. Let's take a look at phpBB. Now, this one, I believe, is the older one. This is the oldest. Now, again, take all this with a grain of salt. It's an acquired taste with using these software, and it's something that a lot of people. I don't like to say that when they look at forums that use these particular pieces of software as, oh, you're using MyBB. Ooh, I don't even want to bother click away from this community. Ew. No, it's just give these guys a chance, because the people who are creating these forums are doing so for the love of the community that they want to spark and grow. But that's the thing, that they have this kind of reputation that it's kind of like a bargain basement type of deal. So phpBB is the older version. Of course, as you can see, if you're watching, it's very antiquated looking. It's definitely looks like a forum back in the 90s, early 2000s, and they really haven't changed much. I believe, yeah, they. Let's take a look in their announcements here. They did have a recent update, didn't they? Yeah, back in October of 2023, they released a new update. It's a maintenance release, which increases the minimum required PHP version, which all these pretty much had to do. Adds a new search index progress bar with added statistics. Do security hardening. New search index. Basically, it's maintenance and security updates on this one. So it's a good thing to see that development is still ongoing. Yeah, you definitely see this one a lot because this one is everyone knows phpBB. phpBB. That's a hard word. Yeah. And truthfully, a lot of shared hosting plans have, the one-click install for stuff. You see like your WordPress. phpBB is on there 9 times out of 10. There's also SMF is there as well. MyBB occasionally, depending on the actual person who, or the company that has that shared hosting, the version of cPanel, if they want to add that or not. So phpBB is constantly under that forum section within the one-click installs on your cPanels. And I'm not to say that it's a bad thing, but it's kind of like, it's there right in front of your face. And they do have different styles or themes that you can do. Let's take a look at styles database. And some of these, I know, especially with phpBB, I don't know if they have updated, but it was kind of a pain in the butt, really. It was a pain in the butt to actually install these themes. You had to go into and do all sorts of stuff. And it wasn't really a one-click install. So let's take a look at this. I mean, this theme, if I was actually going to say, I'm going to start up a forum using phpBB, I would use this theme. Not only because it's a dark mode, but it kind of moves away from the styling, the impression of a phpBB kind of setup. It does still look like it, but it has elements that try to make it look not like it. I don't know if you catch my drift there. So there are many different versions of these different themes that you can use. There's different extensions, like what we can do. Visual extensions. Yeah, orange and black. Yeah, there you go. We got auto groups as an extension that can automate the process of adding and removing users from groups upon reaching specified quantitative milestones. Board rules, announcements, collapsible forum categories, Google Analytics, media embeds, pages. So, I mean, the list goes on. And these are the official extensions. So, it's always a good thing to see. If we go into like the database of everything else that's being worked on, oh, there's all the different kind of things. You got custom BB codes. Let's go look into communication. I don't think you'll be able to have like, oh, you have your Discord notifications that you can have here. Extended OAuth logins. Mention, smart feeds, markdown. So it's pretty much, everything out there under the sun, pretty much. It just depends on if these particular extensions are still updated. Yeah, this one was updated just last week, Friday, January 10th, or 2 weeks ago. I don't know. Time is relative. Yeah, it's just CSS. That's all it is. It's just a layer wrapped around CSS, or CSS layer wrapped around everything. Yeah. So with enough CSS knowledge, you can make anything look pretty. Now, those three that we looked into, phpBB, MyBB, and SMF, Simple Machines Forum, are what I would suggest would be, if you want to go this route, it's a great thing to do. And because you have a great community that is there to help you out and answer any questions that you might have. Now, again, your mileage may vary depending on how you want to go about it. The next section that we're going to look into are, again, they're still open source and free, but they kind of a little bit more involved with getting set up and running. What I'm talking about is Discourse. Discourse is actually pretty new. It's not even 10 years. It's been a couple years. I know that. A lot of companies, I know the game company Funcom, they have their forum is built in and around Discourse. And this actually, when this first came out, it kind of put the forum community, like change how a forum would look like. It got rid of the categories. Each block was a category set up in different sections. What Discourse went through and changed it that your posts are exactly what you see when they're updated or the first right there in line, and you just see post after post. There's no really category separation. It just puts the post front and center for everyone to read. And as you see here, Unreal Engine has forums within Discourse. A lot of places, Asana has it. So a lot of big companies have, instead of, which is a great thing, have upgraded or use their forum software from whatever they're probably using before, some antiquated fly-by-night proprietary kind of forum software, and using an open source free software. Now, it does have everything. It does have categories, so that is there in the back end. But again, like I said, it's set up to put the post up front and center. And then they have the option. I know somebody, you might see that, oh, well, it's hosting for $50 a month. How is that free? Well, if you don't want to run and administrate your own server hardware and the install of Discourse, you can let them do it for you. And it just costs you $50 a month. They set up the server for you. They run it, do the updates and all the sort of stuff like that. But if you really want to do, it's completely free. You can just get it from the GitHub, install it on your own hardware, and then you take care of it. So you got to deal with, the admin stuff. I know a lot of people who are inside the free open source, the community, they love doing that. But there's some other people that I don't have the time. I don't want to spend most of my time managing forum software, my server. I just want to, do the content and do that stuff. So it's a good thing that they have that capability for $50 a month. I know it seems pretty high. Let's actually take a look, see what is involved and what you get for the pricing. Let's see, compare. So you can do like page views. You got 50,000 page views per month. Storage is 10 gigs. You get, of course, the mobile app, which is a PWA and global CDN. You don't get custom themes and components, and you don't get a custom domain. That's the basic. $50 a month. You don't get a lot, really. You don't get a custom domain and public access. Not sure exactly what that means. Your forum is not accessible via the public. Huh. What? You do get community support and email support, but you don't get priority email support on the business side of things. So is it something that you have to weigh the pros and cons? If this was me, I would self-host it. I've done that before. It's not really that difficult. It's just, you have to take care of everything. So like the backups, you have to get together the cron jobs to do that, get that all set up, do the dailies and weeklies, updates, theme updates, plugin updates. You got to go through that whole rigmarole. You can also do support user authentication via sign-in with Apple is available on a standard. SSO on standard, Amazon. Okay, so a lot of the other stuff for login is geared more for large companies that can afford this. You can also get a lot of plugin supports that are available that are in the basic plan, like Patreon, docs, spoiler alerts, which, that's a nice thing to have. You don't get anti-spam, which I would think you would want to have that as a basic. But I guess in their mind is, it's okay. I mean, when you look at it, it's kind of like, oh, this is pretty expensive. But you also got to take in account that they're doing everything for you. So it depends on how much you think your money is worth, for this particular situation. Now, like I said, with Discourse, it was very great in how it changed things out. We'll go to the features. You got it's like, as it says, conversations, your postings are coming first, not going into a page, go into a category, go into a subcategory, go into the thread, now you're finally looking into the post history and you're now reading. Like I said, everything is right up in front. They also have a chat that is recently put in, I think early last year, to add real-time chat, which is okay. I don't see the necessary because you get the forum right there, but some people do want to chat in real time on a forum. Whatever floats your boat. Now they got AI integrated with it as well. Pretty much AI is getting into everything. Your couch cushions will have AI in 5 years. You also have context menus. It's a flat form, so everything is all set up logistically in a flat way. It's actually lightweight when you look on it on a mobile site via the mobile web. So it's actually really easy to see how it's very popular to, hey, use our form software to have a lightweight form experience. We got single sign-on, community moderation, spam blocking. You can do summarize a topic, social logins if you want to go that route, emojis, badges. Everybody needs their badges. Two-factor authentication. You got official plugins. And it's 100% open source. So yeah, and much, much more. So you can use Markdown I think is the default, but you can also use BB code and there's HTML formatting. So there is that use case for you. Let's see, demo. Go into a demo. So this is pretty much what it looks like. Like I said, the posts are front and centered. And you do have your categories here. So it's a great thing that if you want to go into, I just want to check out what's in the gaming section. Okay, here you go. And you click on that. Everything's all listed out. And you got this nice little handy feature for not a histogram, but a history position of postings. So if I don't want to go to the front, I want to go to the most recent. Here's the most recent. Or you can just click on it, be taken to the bottom. And it gives you a nice little position where you're at and what date range you're looking into. Like this is old stuff, like 2021. But this is also a demo. So yeah, there is that. Demo is, I was going to say this is their actual forums, but no, this is, like I said, this is their sandbox demo mode. I was wondering why, because there was like looking at some of the topics, just quickly looking through, I'm like, oh, that's topical. Get it? Topical. But yeah, the next one is kind of like very similar. They've taken what Discourse has done, but they made their own kind of spin on it. It's pretty much looks exactly the same. What I'm talking about is Flarum. Flarum is also another free open source. It has it's not more well known, but it is an option for some communities if they want to go this route. And I believe they don't have a capability for doing hosting. So it's pretty much you're on your own. You have to do it. You have to have the server hardware to do this. They don't do the hosting for you. So that, and I believe they were thinking of doing that at one point in the past, but it kind of fell on the wayside. So they got, let's take a look at what they have here. All right, so they got they're on for Flarum version 1.8.0. Oh, and they did have a security breach, which is not a good thing, but it is great that they are letting people know. Which unfortunately is going to happen. There's no way, shape, and form that you're going to stop. It's just you're going to have a method to mitigate the damage done and to take care of the damage afterwards. That's what you have to think about. Is you can sit there for all of time in space and trying to say, "Oh, I'm defeating the spammers. I'm taking care of this, right?" Well, you're fighting a losing battle pretty much. So there is that. So you just gotta mitigate the damage done and get back on track and make sure your users are aware of the fact that there was a data breach so they can take care of things on their own, like change passwords and make sure nothing's been compromised on their end as well. So it's a good thing that they had posted that up. That was back late last year, November timeframe. But they've gone through a different style approach. If you want to take a look through here, like let's just go into one of these threads. It's very similar. It has, the history slider on the side. They have different, again, all these forums are going to have themes, plugins out the wazoo, whatever kind of things that you want to look for. I'm sure they pretty much have it, or there's a way to do it. And going back to Discourse, I want to say is if you use a blogging software like Ghost, which I do use, they have an integration with Discourse. So all your blog posts and newsletters, you can set that up as the comments are sent into your Discourse forum as, for your comments. So it's a great thing that there are integrations for these other outside integrations as well. So if we look at, let's take a look, go back to their home. Actually, I want to go back to the community because I want to take a look at their theming. They have extensions. Is it in there? Yep, themes. So they put it in extensions under one category, which is fine. So let's take a look at palette theme because I had the most on there. I mean, it's okay. It's a plain. It has a light mode and a dark mode. So it's pretty cool, nice looking, easy on the eyes. I mean, again, you're not going to have, razzle dazzle lights and other stuff. We're not looking like GeoCities here. We don't want to go back to GeoCities really. So again, you have your different themes. You have your different. Oh, you also have paid themes here, paid extensions. Oh, you got an API for Steam Bridge, so you can integrate your Steam profile or Steam profile. That's actually pretty cool. It has like your last games played, your Steam name. Yes, GeoCities and Angelfire, the land of under construction gifts, spinning skulls, and bad music. We don't want to go back there. Yeah, the blink tag. Oh, hail the blink tag. So there's a lot of things that you can do with both Discourse and Flarum. I haven't really had that much experience with Flarum. I have used Discourse in the past. It's a very decent and robust system. The people who run TechLore, they use Discourse for their forum software, and it's completely free and open source. You don't have to pay the hosting fees. If you want to do it yourself, fine. If you don't, well, you got to pay up and have someone do it for you. Now, one thing that the HTML standard actually kicked the blink tag because of how famous they. Oh, that's the reason why the hatred for it. Well, I can understand why. Yeah, it was very not good. So let me go ahead and get back into our section here while I open up a new tab. So the nice thing is that you have options. Those options are a lot, and it's pretty much you run the gamut of however you want to go about it, whatever look you want. And again, like Fox said in our Owncast chat, is that it's basically CSS. Yeah. Let's see, he says a bunch of free JavaScript snippets emerge and emulate its behavior. Remember when using JS to enhance your page was known as DHTML. Yeah, one of the dumbest misnomers. I don't really remember it, but I do remember DHTML as trying to be something, and it didn't last too long. And it was kind of, looked down on with great disdain. Now, moving on into the paid software. Paid software pretty much comes into there's a couple flavors. You got, as you can see on the screen, you have ZenForo, which is a brainchild of two people who used to work at vBulletin. When vBulletin, I think it was going from version 3 to 4, they decided to go out on their own and create ZenForo. And of course, we're talking like years ago. vBulletin, that was also bought by internet brands, sued the makers of ZenForo and drug out the court case for years. Eventually, they lost because they claimed that ZenForo was a copy of vBulletin. Because, it's the two guys who used to work there. So it's trade secrets and all sorts of stuff like that. Which it wasn't the case. It was proven false. So luckily for them, it was great. There was a great awakening within the forum community for paid software because all you had at the time was vBulletin. vBulletin was everywhere. It was pretty much the de facto forum software for large forums. No matter where you went to, you were seeing vBulletin. It was, want to bet? Oh yeah, there is no better platform. Well, it's marketing speak. So let's actually take a look what ZenForo actually looks like. As you can see, it looks like a forum. It really hasn't changed much from back in the days and what is you seeing now. They do offer a couple different things. They have a media gallery that you can post pictures to and stuff like that. They have a resource management for software or not DLC. Wow, add-ons and themes and stuff like that. Yeah, it's phpBB with a little CSS changes here and there. Essentially, that's what all forum software is, really. But it's one of the things that you get better. This is where my caveat comes in. I would say you get better support and upgrades and updates for your software with paid software than you do with free open source. Yeah, DLC. That just popped in my mind. I'm thinking gaming for whatever reason. But with the paid avenue, you get a higher chance of your stuff being taken care of sooner, faster, and better. Updates for the forum software also sooner, faster, better. And again, that's where my caveat comes into play because with ZenForo, yeah, it's propagated by PR, but with ZenForo, they have been kind of slacking on the update frequency lately in the past year or two. And just recently, they just started to get the ball rolling again for something in the next version of ZenForo. And a lot of people are being disenchanted with ZenForo, but there is still a large community that loves the software, loves ZenForo. So I pretty much used all of these platforms. I've have a lot of experience with ZenForo. I've used many forums with ZenForo, and I love it. When I first started, it was a pain in the butt. Try to do any kind of installs for DLC. I'm going to use that for this now. For install DLC, it was kind of a pain in the butt, but they kind of made it easier now. Now, what I use, especially for on this indie creator, I use a software called Invision Community. It's another paid software. It actually, their next version is going to release sometime this year, relatively soon. That makes a lot of changes, a lot of good changes. Yes, there are some pros and cons to this as well, but I find that I have the integrations that they have, especially for the blog side of things, is great. Of course, they have integrated calendar. They also have e-commerce if you want to do kind of a DLC software selling, if you want to do that, or subscriptions. You got galleries, clubs, a custom CMS that you can make on the front end. They got a whole lot of stuff. And Invision Community came from Envision Powerboard, which was a free open software. And I believe the reason why they went to paid is because the support that they were trying to give everybody, it was just costing way too much man hours and time. That's just the same thing. That was a double speak there. Anyways, so they decided, I believe actually you can still use an older version of Envision Powerboard. I think it's 1.4, I believe it is. That is still out there that you can freely use, no problem. It's just Invision Community came from that piece of software. It evolved from it. So if you go into what it looks like, it's a little bit different. Of course, it's again a CSS wrap around phpBB. And their latest one here, let me go to their blog entries, because they're going to be doing some new stuff. Because if you go to our site, thisindie-creator.com, how I have the form set up is very similar to how you would see like Discourse. The postings are all right there, ready to go and everything. You can go into the categories if you want. The front page is the blog section there. That's what I put in. But if you go to the forums, that's how it's set up. But they do have a new thing that they're coming up with version 5 that is a hybrid of sorts. Of course, I can't find it quickly. Is this one it? Yeah, of course you got your widgets. Yeah, this one is, it's like a hybrid of the everything, all the posting within a category, which is it's a pretty cool thing to have. So if you want your category with your pages, or no, your conversations, let's say go with the discourse model, that's how they said it. Your conversations are front and centered within a category. So it's pretty cool that they have set that up. They have all different things that they put in. Now, both ZenForo and Envision Community do offer paid hosting if you want to have them take care of server costs or the server hosting and updates and running your board on the admin side of things, like the technical stuff. They do have options for that. It can be a little pricey. I believe Envision, for just forums, you don't get any kind of here's the pricing. You don't get any kind of blogs or any kind of special deals or special things. Is just forums is $54 a month. So all you get is just discussions. You get 100 gigs of storage, which you can offload into like a S3 bucket or whatever. You get the calendar, you get unlimited admin seats, so you can have as many admins as you want. Of course, you have a custom domain and analytics basics. But that's the thing, that's all built in. You can also use Google Analytics or one of the free open source analytic tools. The higher up, $100 a month, you do get this is Envision Community. Remember, you get the gallery, clubs, the blogs, pretty much the DLC. You can have that added into. You get 500 gigs, custom domain. Their live topics are a cool way of doing. Think of it as this way: is that you want once a month, you set up like a community meet that everybody comes into. And I'll read it from here. It's a live chat feature for in-platform webinars. Once the webinar concludes, the live chat will convert into a topic, allowing post-webinar participation. That is something that is actually pretty cool when you think about it within the forum space, that no other forums really are taking advantage of. So with the second tier, I should say, $100 a month, you get one live topic per month. And of course, the next one up is 2. You also get the courses and lessons. Now, if you heard me talk months ago or earlier last year, I was running the community inside a platform called Mighty Networks, which is basically the same thing. It's a place where you can do courses if you do a lot of lessons and stuff like that, and has a community aspect built around it. That too was also expensive, and that's why I moved to Invision Community, and I do a self-host, and it's much cheaper. So as you can see, Invision Community has most of the focus is towards the enterprise. They do still support the self-hosting hobbyist as well. So most of their focus is more the business enterprise side of things. That's why you see these numbers, almost $619 a month. And that's annual of, about $7,000 a year for the business side. That's just one step below the enterprise. Now, when you look over at ZenForo, let's go back to it. It's a little bit cheaper. Pricing. There we go. Let me turn off. Oh, that's annual. But let's go to monthly. Now, the starter is what? $5 more, $6 more per month. But they do offer a little bit different things. They do offer add-ons and API. Oh, clicked on the wrong thing. So they say lifetime support. Any place that says lifetime support, I don't believe it. There's many times we've seen it with Filmora Pro. Oh yeah, lifetime software, no problem. Pay once, it's yours forever. Until we do an update and then screw our customers over. What are you gonna do? Go to DaVinci Resolve? Yeah, that's what they did. Sorry, that's my little tangent. So yeah, you got a couple different things. Same price point is around $60. Envision Community is at $54. But again, it's the complete ZenForo suite, which comprises of the core software and all first-party add-ons, including Media Gallery, the Resource Manager, and Enhanced Search. So they have a little bit one up on Envision Community, which I would hope that this right here, the beginner, for $54 a month, would include the same items, the gallery and blogs. But then again, you have this here. So it's kind of like the pricing structure is a little strange. But again, if you don't want to run the stuff on your own server hardware and you don't want to do the admin side of things, you do got to pay. You got to pay somebody to run your stuff for you. That's just the nature of the business. And that's the game that you got to play. So, yeah. So software vendors regarding support are like insurance salesmen. They want to make sure you believe that if you pay, you will have the most royal comfort possible. But in reality, if you ever try to invoke what you paid for, they will stop at nothing to dismiss you, leave you, abandon you, and not waste time. That is very true. So again, I like to say that like your job, any company is not family. Don't trust them. Just, keep them at an arm's distance. Don't believe that they have your best interest at heart, because and the sad fact of it is that the only thing that they have faith in is the money coming into their business. And that is it. Yeah. Fox also continues, they also love to blame you and accuse you of being exclusively guilty, weaseling out of their responsibilities by desperately seeking for a loophole or scapegoat that technically voids the terms of their support. Excuse me. Yeah, like I said, it's basically just keep them at arm's distance. It's a professional contract that you have with these places or these businesses. Yeah, you give them money and you expect them to uphold their end of the deal. And if they don't, you can vote with your wallet and say, guess what? I'm out. And that's the nice thing I see with month to month, is that you have the capability to say, hey, I feel like you're screwing me over and I'm not getting support. I'm going to go to your competitor. See ya. And we do have competitors. You have ZenForo, you have Invision Community. You also have Woot Lab, which is also another forum software. This one, was it Woot Lab? No. Yeah. It's it's because it's German, so it's Voltlab. So I'm going to show you this real quick. This is another paid option. It's very similar to Invision Community, and it's a forum software and all sorts of stuff like that. And this one, round about the same. It's doing that can quickly get you a free month or two. And yeah, exactly, St. Clinton. Doing that can quickly get you a free month or two in some cases, right? So this one you get is the cloud. It starts at $40 a month. Use your own domain, improve search results. You get some features. You get forum, blog, calendar, file base, gallery, and stuff like that. You also get user management, customization. No visible branding. You'll get Voltlab's their branding on your forum, which see, this is the thing. I can see that if it was on a free plan, but you're giving them money. So it's kind of like, okay. But with all the other software, they have their branding. They're, say, powered by whatever on the bottom. So again, you can pay extra to get rid of that branding, but again, you pay an extra. So Voltlab, it's cheaper and it's relatively the same style look to it, like Envision. And actually, this looks more closely to ZenForo than Envision. But you can have this set up, Envision, you can have it look like this as well. It's just a simple changing in the admin side of things. So again, you have tons of options that are available to you within the forum community space to build up your community. And one of the things I would actually suggest for anyone who is thinking about starting up a forum is try the free options first. Start with one of the 3 open source, or even start up a Discourse server. We learned to drop show property and CSS PS, right? But again, like I said, start from free. Don't really put too much of a budget or too much of your money to starting out, because you don't know if it's going to be a success or a failure. If it's going to be a failure, yeah, you're out so many dollars. If you do free, well, you're just out however it costs for the servers. I like to think of it as that's probably the best way. Now, one thing I would suggest, like I said, is start with a Discourse. It has a lot of support, unlike the SMF or phpBB or MyBB, the capability that you get better support on Discourse is there. Yes, it's still free, but the support is in my personal opinion, is miles better than the first three that we looked at. Oh, drop show shadow. Okay, that's what you meant, right? But yeah, so if you're going to start this venture of forum software, where would you actually start out with? Is it free open source, or would you actually go jump right into a paid software and start from there? So do let me know in the comments down below. And if you liked what you saw, do be sure to hit the subscribe button, and it's just blinged up when I said that, which is a pretty cool feature on YouTube. If you also want to join our community, it's at thisindiecreator.com. But that's going to be it for this episode. The episode's going to be out tomorrow. Wherever you'll be able to find your podcast player of choice. Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Overcast, anything cast. You can also see the replay over on our YouTube channel, which is Indie Creator Hub. Sorry, I gotta change that name. Indie Creator Hub is the YouTube, but I'm gonna change that soon. Yes, I know your answer, Fox, but if you weren't here for the live recording, you missed out on all the discussion in the Uncast server and chat. Even though I was supposed to have it showing up here, you still missed out. So next time, in 2 weeks, our next recording, next Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, you better be here. If not, I'm not angry. I'm just gonna be disappointed. And with that, have a good night, and next time, be good.